thin and sharp, like the ones that I have seen with the F1 car. A square, another triangle, and a square, yielding the Ma. Welcome to CarSceneKorea. I introduce newly released Genesis, Hyundai, and Kia cars. And it is quite the intro and background I have here today, right? I am here at Munich, IAA Mobility 2025, and it is raining crazy here today. However, as you saw from the thumbnail, I am here to meet Genesis GMR-001, the car that I've been waiting for so long to check out in person, because it is the first car that's currently participating in WEC, World Endurance Race, and it's also the first car that has the latest V8. And that's right, V8 from Genesis Hyundai Motor Group car, and I am finally getting to see that car in person. So let's go check it out. And I have a bunch of videos from IAA 2025, obviously, so if you want to find out everything that Germany, Munich has got to offer, please check those videos out. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give it to you, the Genesis GV60 Magma Concept. Once again, we met this car back in Seoul Mobility Show in Korea, Seoul, and I do have in-depth review of the car, and it is just around the corner. We will soon meet the production model of this version later this year, and this will be the first Magma that Genesis has got to offer. And this is the signatory Genesis color, the vibrant orange color that goes along with the Genesis's athletic elegance, the design key slogan behind the Genesis Magma brand. It looks just absolutely gorgeous. Every time I see one in person, I get blown away. Front lip, the splitter, all of this, more cut outlet for the duct and excessive air. Despite the fact that the car is a full EV, there is more air needed when we're talking about race. Speaking of which, there is now the 6-pot calipers with the forged wheels and clamshell hood applied. I know we're here for the Genesis GMR-001, but just bear with me. I also want to quickly go over this GV60 as well. Designed by Genesis, and another yet aggressive fenders right there. It is cut open. I can actually see it right through that. So the side skirts and what we saw from the front, 3 dashes, and look at that, the beautiful interior as well. It does have the same layout as we saw with the good old Genesis GV60. However, there is the quilted patterns with orange stitch. More of the interior, I'll show it to you from the other side. Please refer to my Genesis GV60 review for in-depth features and text behind all this. The DLO, daylight opening, it has the lightning shape to it, but they blacked it out. More performance rather than the ultimate luxury that Genesis pursues. More of the air curtain on the rear as well. It's slapped around 275/35 21-inch massive wheels and tires. I mean, honestly, it's not the biggest wheels and tires we see in the market lately. There are even bigger, absurd wheels and tires. So I think it's a good fit for GV60. And the taillight, look at the rear spoiler as well. It's almost like the wing type. This is big and massive for the size of GV60. Look at that. And a little tip towards the end, just beautifully crafted. So let's wait and see how much of this actually does get carried over to the production model. Once again, we will see this later this year. I have very high hopes. And this signatory Genesis GV60 only, there is another glass right underneath, on top of the glasses right there. And I also do notice that there is the Genesis Magma triangle tip right there in the middle. I really hope that will get carried over to the production model. The rear diffuser, it's not just for the looks. Of course, there is function right behind, lowering the CD and adding on to the performance. Turn signal at the bottom, which is connected over to the rear canards. So very nice touch. A lot of paying attention to fine detail that Genesis is known for. And just look at that reflection, it's just absolutely beautiful. And this Genesis Studio Europe really blends in beautifully together with the streets of Munich. And yes, this is the very car that we saw at 2024 Goodwood Festival of Speed. As you can see, the car physically being running the world debut right there at Goodwood, so you can check out the footage of this vehicle's performance. Beautiful thing about meeting the car in person, there is more design to it on top of the roof as well to better the airflow on top. And all of that is also added to that shark antenna as well. And if you didn't know, once again, I went all over this in my GV60 review, but that is facial recognition. The camera will recognize your face and you can unlock the car and of course drive the car without the physical car key. However, that option might not be available in your market, so please double check. And inside, I would always like to get started with that crystal sphere. Uniquely GV60 only, it's not offered in any other Genesis yet. Beautiful steering wheel, the magma color on left and right, and one is for the drive mode and that on the right is for the boost, yielding full potential and power from the Genesis GV60 Magma. Oh, and look at that. I love the double line identity touch on top of the steering wheel. It is part of the design embedded right onto the leather, but it's not the good old stitching that we are used to seeing. Again, paying attention to the fine detail, ultimate luxury that Genesis brand pursues. So rest of the design, it's pretty much the same thing from GV60, and this seat is actually from the bucket seats that we've been getting on other Hyundai brands such as N-series cars, Elantra, Veloster, you name it, and Kia EV6 GT got this. So they have a lot of names and like bucket seats and so forth, and they are the same seats found on those very cars that I just listed. Nothing too special in terms of the second row seat. It has not been modified into a four-seater car. It still has the good old bench type seat on the second row seats. Guys, for the ultimate car that I flew all the way from Korea to Munich, Germany, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Genesis Magma GMR-001. And let me give you a full walk around of the car. Unfortunately, the beast is caged behind this glass, but I can tell you everything about it. I am just seeing the car literally a glass away. And this is finally the 1:1 ratio GMR-001 that I've been meaning to meet. It's absolutely beautiful. It is the WEC car that has to meet the regulations of the LMDH. So if you know, you know, this car is built on the proven LMDH platform from Oreca, and it is also used by Acura and Alpine. So the design isn't that much different from those brands and cars that I just told you. However, it is what it is with the WEC that Genesis Magma is currently participating in, and they just started their journey. They decided to go with the proven platform, and I think it's a great way to get started. And Genesis has never been in racing before, and they're only getting started, and props to coming up with their own engine. They could have gone with the other engine choices just like they have done with the chassis. However, one of the most important thing when it comes to any car is the powertrain, and big props to Genesis Magma coming out with their first engine from the races that they have won, the WRC. So let me tell you about the powertrain as well. It uses the twin turbo V8 plus hybrid. So it's actually two Hyundai WRC engines combined, paired together with the hybrid system, delivering approximately 670 horsepower. That is 500 kilowatts, together with 67 horsepower from the electric drive. And Genesis Magma also has revealed the engine notes and sound in real world, ripping down the tarmac on the racetracks. It sounds beautiful. If you're in the market for the high-pitch engine notes, the Magma engine might not be your choice. However, it's definitely unique, one of a kind. I love the engine note that it gives with the highest RPM. It kind of does really feel like that WRC just ripping it, having that giant leap and jump. So it does feel like the GMR with the WRC hard inside. So double that power, going their own way, being pioneer in terms of the race. Let me give you more design from this angle. I did meet a F1 car yesterday at IAA. F1 straight from Mercedes, used in last year's season. They had the latest decals on. It was my first time seeing the actual F1 car, and they were big. They are approximately 6 meters long, and this WEC car is no exception. No wonder they provide such performance, the ultimate performance there is to it. There are far more common denominators with this WEC car to F1 than the road box cars that we know of. So it does say Genesis all over. However, it's very completely different from any Genesis car that we've been getting thus far. And that's also the GV60 Magma included, to be honest. And let me show you back of the car. Oh my God, I don't think I can squeeze in, so let me show it to you from this angle. Just look at that beauty. Double line identity abundantly found on the rear. Everybody would be able to tell that there is the Genesis car in front of you. Double parallel lines on the rear, and also a beautiful spoiler at the back as well. This is a living art. And let me tell you about this livery. So there is the Genesis Magma color all over it, but all those characters you see behind is a Korean word for magma, Korean way of pronouncing the word magma, of course. So that is actually magma right there. Take out the alphabets from each word. That is the symbol for the brand that they have. A square, another triangle, and a square, yielding the magma all together. So Genesis Magma Racing. You don't need to tell me about the Genesis in English, right? Names of the racing drivers for the car written right there. Look at that aggressive aero and venturi system that they also have for this WEC car. So the mirrors attached right over there to get that best aerodynamics around the car. Because if you didn't know, the side mirrors actually have a huge impact of the aerodynamics. So it's better not to have the side mirrors attached on the windows. And that's also the reason behind digital side mirror that Hyundai Motor Group is pumping out on most of their EV cars. The cockpit of the car, I'm sorry, this is the best I can give you. Next time I meet this car, I really want to see and hear its roar in person. And the wheels and tires for the car, of course, it's center lock wheels. The double line identity continues on the fenders, together with the headlights on the front. It may not be Genesis explicit because this is also used with Acura, like I told you. I mean, what a coincidence. And there it probably is a very good reason why Genesis Magma Racing decided to choose this chassis. And I am pretty sure that double line identity and the headlights has got to do a lot with Genesis Magma choosing this car as their Magma Racing car. I just can't get enough of this car, honestly. This is so beautiful. So Korean national flag right in the middle. More details about the car, the canards, everything. It is very thin and sharp, like the ones that I have seen with the F1 car. It's just pure racing DNA all over this car, no doubt. The integrated inlets and flat underbody design optimize cooling, airflow management during high stress stints. So this is the ultimate race we're talking about. So every design, every element you see in this GMR-001 is meant for race and race only. I've never been so hyped and stoked about a car before. Well, except yesterday's F1 car. But again, I came here, Munich, all the way from Korea, so to meet this car in person. Aside from the IAA. I can't wait to show you the roar and this car ripping down the tarmac on racing tracks. All right, so that is it for today's video. I just don't want to go, but I've got to go. Your #1 source of KTM, Genesis, Hyundai, and Kia cars. Don't forget to like and subscribe CarSceneKorea if you did, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Make sure you check out my other videos from IAA 2025. Bye-bye.